Great. All right. We are back at it again. This will be the second to the last episode before we jump into the 25 Make It Live year. Again, this is the Novice Sports Show coming to you with one of our last shows for the 2024 year. Started this back in November of last year. Three guys who came together organically to talk about sports from a novice point of view. Again, please like, share, subscribe, help us grow the channel. Please leave comments. Our catchphrase is, we might just read them, then again, we might not. It's highly likely we probably won't. But with that, we're gonna jump into our what? Our introductions. We got
AJ.
and we got
Jay.
A-Dub. So, of course, this is the most festive times of the year for sports people. We got hockey, we got NFL, we got NBA, we got all kind women's, was it basketball? Nobody's watching that, even though they might have a few stars popping up every now and again. But speaking of watching and all those wonderful things, man, the NBA's viewership level has like declined over years, and the question is why? You got mega stars, you got all these guys making this money, you got all these super athletes from overseas, and you got guys that are homegrown here, but nobody's watching. The only time we want to watch it, as the athletes say, is when there's drama involved, when somebody's getting traded, or when it's the playoffs or the championship. So like I said, my thing is, back in the day, I used to watch because what? I enjoyed watching. There were storylines that I enjoyed. Right now, I don't see a story that I want to see. So, what's the point in watching something when you know it don't really matter? I'm like, yeah, it don't make no sense to me. Like I said, it starts in November. They come up with the Emirates Cups last year. People watched it because LeBron was in it. And again, more eyeballs. I'll say this. When you want somebody to watch something, you got to have something to attract them to watch. LeBron was the catalyst last year for that Emirates Cup. This year, I didn't even know what was going on. That's the sad part about it, right? Because I was like, dude, what's going on? I was like, I knew what it was, but I wasn't paying attention. So, so what, I know we've kind of discussed this before, but not from this point of view. What is the NBA doing that's causing all this? What y'all got?
So this is funny, but the first we when we were talking about like the whole Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese stuff and how popular women's, it all came down to storylines, right?
Yeah.
Either you got a villain and a good guy and a bad guy, or you just got a story that's so compelling that everybody wants to watch it, right? Did you know that the most watched college NCAA basketball championship game, even now, was the Magic and Bird in 79.
Story.
All the years since, right?
Right.
Like back then, stuff wasn't even popping like that, and,
Right.
and media wasn't like it is. That's the highest rated collegiate championship game in history, right?
Wow.
And so you look, we talked about this, that the NBA games weren't even on live. Like they were all like tape delayed, even in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But the whole Magic and Bird, East Coast, West Coast, LA, Boston, like really elevated the league.
Yeah.
So you had those stories, right? And you had either one, nobody liked both. You liked one or the other.
Yeah.
Nobody liked Bird and Magic. You picked one, right? And so then Jordan came along and everybody loved Jordan. And then, then you had the other teams trying to take him down. And so you had storylines, you had compelling stuff going on, right? And I feel like that kind of lasted for quite a while. And then sort of a new breed kind of came in. And then then when LeBron came in, he became must-see TV, and people either loved him or hated him. And then you had that long run where they were in the finals like 10 years in a row. And then when it was Cleveland against Golden State, even though you knew those were the two best teams, people still were interested in it. They never got tired of it because there were still storylines. There was still like a compelling matchup, right? Now, I don't think there's any of that, right? I mean, the face of the league is still LeBron, and he's 40. And so it's like you're trying to push the young guys, right? But the two most known in the faces of the league are LeBron and Steph, who are both super long in the tooth, right? their teams aren't as good as they used to be, so they're not competing for championships. And so people are like, well, who am I really interested in watching, right? We try to push certain, Wemby is the new guy, Ant has a bunch of commercials, but it hasn't like caught on because it's got to be,
genuine,
and organic. Exactly, right? You can't just, you can't just put three dudes together and make the show. Nah, man, we all came together. What do you say? Organically, right?
Yeah.
But we could have hired three actors, right? Somebody could have done that, right? But the shows that go well is in the team in the leagues is when you got these compelling storylines, right? And so, people said that like a lot of people dropped off like when they thought the league got too political and they thought the athletes were speaking out too much. So that's I can see where people would say that. But underlined to that, the people that left
weren't watching anyway.
And how do I want to say this politically correctly?
Who cares?
The people who left were mad about how the game was being portrayed by those athletes. Were mad there was a bunch of rich black dudes speaking out
with an
opinion, right? And so, like the popularity of the WNBA followed Caitlin, because Caitlin is the opposite of what they were talking about. We didn't like the WNBA because there was a bunch of their words, a bunch of homosexual black women, and nobody cared. You get Caitlin Clark, who's the opposite, and she's a great player, and you got the storyline.
Yeah.
So then everything takes off, right? We got star players we got players that are really, really good now in the NBA, but there's nothing compelling. There's nothing that gets you to want to, follow them, unless you're just a diehard, fan of XYZ team. There's, the NBA is based on players. The NFL is based on teams. And so
I know one of the things people have been hinting at for viewership the reason why viewership is down is because more 3-pointers are being shot. I don't really see the correlation into that. I can see how it may get boring in a sense.
That's my point.
Depending on the team that's playing.
Yeah.
It's but for the overall game, I can't really say
like
why.
People love Steph shooting threes, right?
Yeah. But we don't want Wemby shooting.
We don't want Wemby's cool because it's another novelty, right?
I'm just saying based off them.
They
don't want Wemby.
No, they would be cool with Wemby shooting them because it's a novelty. They don't want give me some seventh guy off the bench for any team. Just give me any role player.
Josh Hart.
They don't want Josh Hart out there bombing threes because they're like, we want it. It's like they think it should be preserved for the the hardened, the elites, right? But now everybody's jacking up threes on a crazy pace and bricking them a lot of the time. So they're like, yeah, man.
But we got to remember though, they put threes in the game to do what? What they put them for?
Spread the floor?
Not spread the floor, but what? To increase, because people like to see the scoreboard light up. Right?
Yeah, but that ain't why they put the three here.
I'm just saying though, but it helps that board. Everybody hates, remember we said this a while ago, everybody hates that 48-50 game.
Right.
That you put the three, everybody's jacking up threes to get the scores up because what? Everybody loves offense. Everybody hates defense.
And I should have used Wemby. But the reason I did use Wemby is because I know people are on the other end of saying like, oh, he's 7'4", he should be in the paint, right? And I know for Wemby, he has a different intent on how he wants his game to evolve.
But the game has changed.
Yeah. And I think they don't like it when outside of your 1 through 3, your 4s and your 5s are shooting threes.
But
like they are Steph Curry.
But the game has changed.
Yeah,
this is not Shaq ball. This is not Wilt ball. This is not Julius. Not Julius. What's his name? Skyhook.
Oh, Kareem.
Kareem. This is not Kareem ball. This is not that. The game has evolved. This is no longer what we used to see in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I mean, things are supposed to move forward. I mean, think about it. So the first big man that brought the ball up the floor was who? Because I don't know basketball. right? Shaq tried to dribble up.
I mean, like Ralph
time.
Sampson used to
Yeah.
get the ball and
Yeah.
go, and people were like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, look at his skills."
So are you asking when was the first big man to do so?
No, I'm just
or
saying.
when was the first big man allowed to do so?
Just did it. I mean, because in the middle of the game, you bringing it up, they can't stop you.
Like Shaq would get a rebound. Shaq would get a rebound
Right,
and take off with
and
it.
go coast to coast.
And he was skilled enough to not kick the ball out of bounds.
Right.
You
So,
know,
and I think that all it takes is one. Oh, he can do it. I can do it too. Or you got a big man that wants to cross somebody up. It's fun because it's great to see, right? Again, and then you talk about catalysts. The game's going to change.
Yeah.
I mean, all sports have revolutionized and changed. I mean, think about it. We used to in basketball, literally shoot, go in. Somebody would go up on a ladder, take it out, and give it to the other team until somebody decided to cut a hole in the bottom of the freaking basket.
That's true. The only thing I can really think of personally when it comes to that is like maybe people are tired of like the whole plug in and plug out where you're like for example, you know how Embiid plays, right?
Yeah.
But let's say there's another team that doesn't have Embiid on their team, right? But they have a 5.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, let's try to get him to do the same thing. And that can kind of look ugly from a viewer standpoint. Like, bro, that's not his
everything
game.
is the same.
Yeah,
right?
nobody is allowed to show their game or show the difference in I can do this, but I also can do this. I feel like
I'm saying it's just like the we talk about like it's a copycat league, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So if you can get a 7-footer that can also shoot threes, be like your Cats and your MB,
Spread the floor,
right?
Joker,
Right. Then it adds another element to the game, right? That should be a good thing. But what it turns into is everything is like everybody runs the exact same offense.
Now
right?
Clint Capella out there trying to do it.
But it's like everything is, a screen, you get a switch, and then you either throw it to the corner for a 3, and there's nobody in the paint. And like the people that are now again, you can speak to this because you're young and a different generation. Old heads are like the bigs need to be underneath, getting rebounds and dunking the ball.
Yep.
Or the bigs need to be underneath and trying to block every shot that comes in, right? But if you look at a game now, the court is so spread. You got Anthony Davis, who's your best defender, your big guy.
You got him on the corner.
He's in the corner shooting fadeaway threes.
Or guarding somebody that's in the corner.
And they look good when they go in. But the traditionalists of the game are looking like, that's not good offense. Like, why are you doing that?
And to attest that, my question is the underlying reason of that. Do you think it's because the rules have changed? For example, back then it wasn't really a big defensive 3 seconds, so you could stay in the paint. Whereas now, that's being called.
Well, they changed the rules to get more offense,
right,
and to make it less physical because it got in the 90s.
It was
just ugly. Like it was ugly basketball, right? And so people were like, well, yeah, we like the physicality, but we need some scoring because it's just ugly and it's like a mall fest out there, nothing but free throws.
Right.
Yeah. So they're like, we'll spread the floor more. But then as the players involved, now people's handles are crazy from 1 to 5. So if you get a switch and the floor is spread, every one of them can cross you up and get to the basket, right?
Finish.
Yeah.
See, and I think a lot of the reason, like we said before, is there's no real rivalry.
That's definitely.
I mean, there is no.
It feels like just a period of time.
No, I mean, just okay. So
back, I'm saying like it just seems like we hate each other.
Yeah, but
because we're playing each other right now, as opposed to like long term.
Like Boston and the Knicks. That should be that back in the day was a rivalry, right? I mean, it really was. Now.
It doesn't mean anything to the common person that's watching. It means something to them up there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could turn that game on because Boston was playing the Knicks. Everybody was watching. Now it's like they played on Christmas. Really? Oh, okay.
And I understand they're not supposed to hate each other in real life, right? Outside of the court.
Back in the day,
they try to. But it doesn't even. But what I'm getting at, it doesn't even feel that way on the court. Not saying they're not playing hard.
I mean, they play hard, but it's more of a.
But like. It just doesn't seem. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like.
I'm gonna give you an example, right?
They hate each other.
When I watch, like a pickup game now, right? it is a lot of, okay, you got the ball. I'm supposed to be guarding you. Let me see what you got. Give me your best move. You make it, cool, you made it. Now, next time down, I'm gonna do my move. You don't really see a lot of people like D'ing each other up like crazy because it's more of a, I know what kind of skills you got. Let me see what you got. And if you miss, you just miss. It's not because I'm really putting forward now in the playoff basketball. And I feel like it's the same way. So like playoff basketball
Matchups
is a lot different, right? Yeah. People, they play a lot harder. You know, there's way more defense. But in an 82 game schedule on a Tuesday night when
you're not on TV,
when it's Sacramento against
Seattle Seahawks, Supersonics.
well, they don't even exist
yeah,
anymore. OKC versus Sacramento.
Yeah.
okay, Sacramento versus the Washington Wizards.
There you
Great
go.
one.
There you go.
A
There you
great
go.
one.
Ain't nobody watching.
Nobody cares.
Nobody watching.
And how much did the players even care in that game other than I'm gonna get mine or yeah, we want to get a win, but are we really like what's the you know like
motivation?
You know, like and again, times change, right? They're making so much money, their lifestyles are so different, you know, that game to game, possession to possession, it really just doesn't mean as much as it used to.
And matter of fact, I'm glad you said that. That just popped a thought in my head. I wonder if people are upset at the fact of how people loosely use the term a franchise player now.
No, I don't
I know that
what I mean by Jordan Poole, great player.
But he's not a franchise player, no.
Franchise player? But he's the franchise player for the Washington Wizards.
That's just because they're bad and he happens to be the best player.
Yeah, I mean
but nobody's like hyping him up, right? Like we hype up players because we're trying to get some interest and we want to show how good they are, right? But another issue with, right now the top 3 players in the league, let's say top 4 players in the league, none of them were born in the United States. So Shea, Luka, Giannis, and Joker. None of them born in the United States. Back in the day, you had to play college ball for the most part. You'd be on a team for 2 or 3 years before you left. So you built up a following. Again, just like Caitlin Clark, built up a following, and that following followed her over. Yep. Let's say in the WNBA, or you could go after 1 year, and for whatever reason, Caitlin Clark left after her freshman year. We would not even know who Caitlin Clark is because she would not have built up that following. She wouldn't have been able to do the things she did.
The development, yeah.
But now, if you're really good, you leave after 1 year. Mm-hmm. So nobody really got a chance to see you. So there's okay, Cooper Flagg, right?
Yeah.
He's projected to be the number 1 player next year. Now, if he's a good college player, but people are salivating over the chance of the best player in the league being a white dude that went to Duke, that was born in the United States. So if he could become like LeBron level, like the people are like, okay, now we got something. Yeah. The amount of endorsements he's going to get is going to be through the roof. Especially if Duke, let's say Duke goes, God forbid, say Duke goes on a run and goes deep into playoffs. I mean, in the tournament, and he's averaging 20, 10, and 8, and he's everything people say. And then it's, then you're watching and people are like into it. And then he goes as the number 1 pick. But not only he goes as the number 1 pick, let's say he goes to a team that's either got like let's say he ended up going to the Knicks or the Lakers or the Celtics, like these historic teams. But what is what's going to end up happening? He's going to go to the Wizards or he's going to go to Utah.
Someplace bad.
And you're going to lose a little bit of that because it's like nobody's watching the Wizards now. Nobody really cares. He's really going to have to be great to change that, right?
Right.
To the playoffs single-handedly.
Yeah, but so
do you feel like the season is too long?
I actually do. I think the season's too long because
I think what it is think about it, right?
It ends.
No. It ends in June, right? Because that's when you play your championship game. Then you start back literally at the end of October. So I mean, what I'm saying is, it's kind of like overkill. Like I said, the season's too long, but I think it just finishes late and it starts early. But it starts in the middle of something else. It's like football season. It's all going to start running together.
Well, I mean, I guess that's the point, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about. Like, don't start because they're gonna have to do something, right?
Yeah.
But nobody wants the advertisers, the TV deals.
Yeah.
They don't want less games because that
They
means
want more
there's
games.
less money.
Yeah.
Right. So, they're saying, we should start the season on Christmas Day because everybody watches the NBA on Christmas Day. You didn't really watch October, November. You really start watching like 3 months into the season.
Yeah.
But you have to chop out a bunch of games, and nobody wants to do that because TV deals and all that stuff. Even if nobody's watching to the levels they used to, there's still millions of people watching, and they're feeling like we got to get our money's worth.
Got a question. So see, not only that, when they say people watching, there's only so many select houses the Nielsen rating on it because everybody can watch on their phone now. Are they really tracking that?
I think they are because I don't know that is the Nielsen thing even still a thing.
It's not a thing, but
where they had to put it because now everything is digital.
Yeah.
Like before, you'd have like a little box on your TV or whatever.
Yeah, they watch what you.
I don't know how they can figure out how many people are watching, but somehow they do.
it. Yeah.
Like Netflix knows how many people watched.
That Super Bowl,
whatever.
not Super Bowl, but that halftime show.
Yeah.
That Beyonce was on.
Well, and they had Netflix got the football games, right?
2 football games.
Because
I had Netflix, I think.
Yeah. But
I didn't watch the halftime show.
what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
I was like,
What's wrong with you, man?
I know that's one thing that you did bring up though.
What?
So many streaming channels, you don't even get
see,
to.
And that's another thing, right? So back in the day, and I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad it hit us, right? So back in the day, when a game came on, it came on one of 4 channels or one of 3 channels, and it was free.
Yep.
So everybody could watch it at any point in time, free. Now, that ain't the case.
Well, here's the other thing. Not only was it free, but that was the only thing going on.
True, that
like,
too.
Like now,
Yeah, you got.
it's rare. I guarantee it's rare for
trillion.
somebody your age to sit down in front of a TV and watch a whole anything.
Hold up, he said a TV.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying watch on your phone.
Yeah.
I'm saying a TV
You said sit down.
and watch a whole game of anything, right?
Think about it though. Wow, okay, even now I could watch 4 games at once, literally on one screen.
You can,
I'm
but
just
at least
saying,
you're
though.
watching them, right?
No,
Now,
well, you're not
you
really
can-
doing that.
You
The
can
attention
like,
span is so short.
Yeah, I mean,
I can watch, a movie. I can watch.
Yeah.
I can
yeah,
watch
but that's what I'm saying though. So
Yeah.
so there's
so many options.
that's it
Yeah.
too. See, I mean, so I think the NBA has to raise the level of competition or pick better time slots as versus what's going on because you're looking at, if I can watch.
Ain't nobody staying up at 10 p.m.
No.
on the east
On
side
a
to
work
watch.
day.
Like you said, the Joker versus Washington. I
Yeah,
just
I'm not
don't
doing
care,
it.
bro.
Yeah, I'm not, but that's the whole point though. I mean, they got to pick better time slots. I mean, because before they used to do, because remember when it used to come on TNT basketball, right? They come on at 7:05 or 8:05 or 9:05.
Right.
Now, when you tell me, oh my God, game's coming on at 10, woo!
But that game isn't meant for you necessarily.
the West
It's
Coast.
meant for the West Coast
right.
folks.
Yeah, but
Because because the game comes on at 7 East Coast time,
it's not
that's
for them.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
West Coast, because they're at work, they're not watching it. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but
Or
what?
it is 10 p.m. on, you know what I'm saying, on our side.
I'm
It's
going to bed
whatever time over there.
unless it's a really good game.
But then you find out, oh, I don't have the streaming site.
Yeah, see, that too. Then you gotta.
I got to pay $100
No, I'm not.
to watch
Here
it.
we go.
yeah.
I will get on TikTok
Yeah.
and watch
Yeah.
somebody stream it for free.
And you know what? Made me think of another point.
Yeah.
People have a problem with players with load management, right?
Yeah.
And and again, the old heads will say, man, we played 82 games every year. Unless you got hurt and you were hurt badly, you played 82 games. Like that was the expectation.
That too, yeah.
Now they got to make rules to get you to play 65 to be
65,
eligible to be
yeah.
first team.
To get any award.
Yeah. Like we got to incentivize you to play, and you got dudes that are saying, I'm not playing any back-to-backs. I'm not ever going. Like, dude, you're not even injured yet. So how about you? You're
Play.
not tired yet.
Yeah.
Like, how about you play and let's see what happens? So that rubs people the wrong way, especially when the players are making so much money. people are like, they're ungrateful, they don't care. So if they don't care, I don't care, you know.
But they don't care. It's way different than I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look, I mean, I said, but those
He don't care on the island.
no,
Exactly.
You don't care in the living room.
Exactly.
That's the whole point of it, right? I mean, but I think that's part of the divide, right?
Yeah.
Because they say they've kind of lost touch with reality.
Yeah.
Because again, and then I hate to say this, but like if I come to a game and I paid to see, literally these tickets ain't cheap
Yeah.
for some teams they are. The Washington Wizards are probably pretty cheap. But like I said, Detroit's probably pretty cheap. But when they're playing, let's say LeBron's coming to town, those tickets ain't cheap.
Right.
So when I show up and I pay my hard-earned money and LeBron decides to sit out, I ain't gonna be happy.
Yeah.
So see,
LeBron need to go out here and do some cartwheels or something.
I thought didn't they put something in where like I always said, like, if you're gonna sit out, you got to sit out at home.
Okay. Yep.
Because they see you every game. But if you're only playing the Wizards twice,
yeah,
you got to go to those games, right?
You gotta play that.
Now, how you enforce that? That's a whole other story.
I don't know if that's a new rule or not, like I said, but that's kind of some of the angst.
Yeah.
And I could feel that, because I remember I got a free ticket to go to Wizards game and it looked like it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was like, where everybody at? Where I pick a seat. You go down floor if you want.
Right. Yeah.
Like, can I go to the skybox? Yeah, go to the skybox. Okay, bet. Shrimp.
Right.
Like I said, but again, I think not some, like I said, athletes work hard at what they do, but I think they need to understand that it's a business, and also if nobody's watching, eventually you will not get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think there needs to be a compromise of sorts to say, hey, look, guys, something needs to happen along the line.
And I think they're trying, like the mid-season thing was something they threw in last year to try to make these early games mean something.
Or like even Phoenix, because they're trying. The GM, he's trying to increase attendance and all that, so he's lowered the cost to everything like $20.
Okay.
Yeah,
stuff like that for because I think the example was that it would be like a family of 4 would go there and they'll spend like $196.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And like I said, but that's all about driving the cost of goods, up or down based upon supply and demand. But for those teams who are entrenched in the community, and I think a lot of, I don't know about every team, but that seemed like to be a point, right? Remember the old ABA, all the gimmicks they used to have, all the things, they were always doing something to get you to come to the game.
Right.
Right now, I can't tell you what the NBA is doing for the Charlotte Hornets right now, literally, other than nothing, because I don't see anything.
Right.
I know I don't live in Charlotte.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to go see a game, that would be the game I go see, because I could go there in a day and come back. I'm not going to drive to Washington, and I'm not going to drive to Atlanta.
Right.
So
now we all lose.
even if they were winning, I'm not doing it.
But you think about, that's the thing, right? So the NBA, yes, they want viewership to be like everybody does, right? But the money is in the media deals, right?
Always.
So they don't care. Adam Silver doesn't care how many people are at the Charlotte game, but the owner of the Charlotte Hornets should be the one caring about that. So I used to always say, like, they need to give away a whole bunch of free tickets or cheap tickets to kids.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can build up. They remember, oh yeah, I used to go, and then like let the players give you autographs.
Yeah.
Because then that maybe that gets you to the point where you're giving out, they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Free jersey night or bobblehead night or whatever. But you got to pack. I'll give you an example. The elementary school I used to work at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wake Forest University's women's basketball team used to do a thing during Christmas break where they would give away any school that wanted to come, get free tickets. We did it like 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
The place was packed, so it would break the attendance record every year. It'd be nothing but elementary school, middle school. Matter of fact, it wasn't even usually high school kids, it's little kids. And they'd have all music and stuff and mascots, and the kids loved it. Did they give a crap about Wake Forest basketball? No. Did they even really know which team should I be cheering for? The ball went in the basket, they were cheering. It didn't matter which team, right? But to this day, kids will be like, yeah, that was so much fun going to that game. Yeah. So then if it's close enough, and then the promotion comes where they say, hey, here's a family of 4 tickets for $20, bring your family out, and you got little Johnny, man, it was fun, Mom, we should go.
Yeah.
then that kind of helps you. And then there's a girl that's the star. And so then you like, okay, we cheer for her. And then you kind of build from there, right? I don't know that the NBA cares enough
To do that.
to do all of that because they're already making their media money.
Right.
Like, but to your point, at a certain point, if people stop watching, that's going to dry up. And NBC and Fox aren't going to be fighting over who gets the NBA contract like they used to back in the day. They'll be like, "Now you can have it. Now you can have it. Now you can have it."
Yeah, I mean, that's the truth, though. I mean, like I said, 'cause, I mean, think about it. I mean, again, the disparity. I mean, and as we always say, on the show, there's no good story.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no good story. I mean, we've talked about this before. You know, who is going to be the face of the league? Some guy from Europe?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
what is he doing? Oh, he's in Greece. Or he's over in Germany. Or
Yeah.
he's doing this. Yeah, but he ain't here.
They are hoping to, like again, when LeBron, and Steph and KD are like the three most like recognizable people in the league, and they're all 2 years tops from retiring, you got a problem.
Yeah.
And
it seems like nobody's taking the initiative.
It's
like they're waiting to be chosen.
No, I don't think. No, like we talked about that before, right? Right. Magic and Bird weren't chosen. They were just really that good, and they saved the league.
Right.
Jordan came along just right at the tail end, perfect timing, because he was what? Ain't nobody gonna stop me. Ain't nobody gonna do this. Kobe, Shaq, LeBron all have that. They weren't chosen. They just kind of took it. Say, I'm going to step into the spotlight. I'm going to put this mantle across my chest. Or you say, I'm going to put the S on my chest and I'm going to do what I do. I don't see, it's not so much about initiative. I just don't see anybody with that attitude.
So,
well, and it's not,
if you wait to be chosen, then it's not organic.
So let me ask you this. Other than the weight of everybody wanting LeBron to fail, what made LeBron a superstar?
I think we made
in a small market.
Okay.
Because Shea, you brought up Shea, even though he's Canadian. He's good. He averages 30, whatever he averages, but he's OKC. Nobody watches OKC other than OKC.
Shea have a commercial?
Maybe one.
Okay.
So
maybe two.
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have a personality. Like LeBron was hyped up since 8th grade.
Right.
And he was on the cover of
Sports Illustrated.
And not only that, they were televising his games on ESPN. And was the gym empty or was it packed?
Right. But is it that the players need more of a personality? Like what is it?
Go ahead.
I don't think it's personality. I just think that was okay. Everybody knows there's once in a lifetime athletes. Period. I mean, once ever so often a generational talent comes along in every sport, and that guy's going to command that attention because everybody knows he's the man. That's what happened with LeBron. In 8th grade, somebody was like, that kid is got a 96-inch vertical, and he can shoot the rock, and he's got a high IQ for basketball. That's him, right? Now, with the skill level of all the players we have, who's going to be that generational player?
Well, see, that's the thing, though. It's not even because I keep talking about there's only one superstar, and that's LeBron James, because it goes beyond just how you play on the court. These dudes are so super talented, right? And everybody's games are televised or on YouTube or there's a
highlights on TikTok.
Yeah. So just like with Jordan coming out of college was the 3rd pick, right? Nobody thought he was going to be what he turned out to be, right?
They wanted to lend bias.
But it was a perfect storm of, he had the look, he had the personality, people knew him from the school, he had the swag, he wore the longer shorts, the fashion. Then the media got behind him and they pushed him, and then he was a winner. They won, right? So everything came together. And everybody at that time was trying to stop him. Right?
And as much as people actually act like they dislike it, some do. He was arrogant.
Yeah,
boastful.
But not.
He backed it up. He backed it up.
But at that point, not even really. He was Mr.
You're talking when he first came in.
He was Mr. Gatorade. He was Mr. Be Like Mike. He was playing with the kids. Now behind closed doors, he was that killer. But
literally,
but the little kids and the people drinking Gatorade,
they didn't see
me there, right? Look at Kobe, right? Kobe developed into that.
Mm-hmm.
But Kobe wasn't that coming out of high school,
Nope.
right? He ended up imagine if Kobe had gone to Charlotte, like he got drafted
And played there.
and stayed there.
I don't think he would be known as.
He wouldn't have had the Shaq. He wouldn't have had LA. He wouldn't have had Phil Jackson. We might be looking at Kobe just like Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter,
Yeah, I was just about to say
super
that.
skilled, really good, but that's the
That's
extent of it, right?
Yeah.
But then Kobe ended up developing that other piece
The winning.
and the mentality and the
I'm
myth
not gonna take no for an
and the myth of
Mhm.
the Mamba thing came. It's like
He created a legend within himself.
kids have the talent now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like you still got to have that whole that's why they wanted to be Ant, because he got to smile. He's personable. He says the right things. You think he wants it. Like he's not saying, I don't want the spotlight. But it's like if you push it, people aren't going to accept it.
Right.
He's got to be the one to, with his play, he's got to just
elevate.
take it.
You got to elevate.
Like you said,
you have to take.
They wanted to be Wemby, right? Because he's this unicorn. But I've never heard Wemby talk. Like I don't know his personality, right? Nobody's making a Wemby movie.
Right. Even before him, Porzingis. He was supposed to be the guy.
But you know what I'm saying? But
not to maybe be the face of the league.
But those dudes that are like, we've never seen anybody like this. 7 foot, and can shoot threes, and can handle the ball, and blah, 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 blah. But you got to have a personality, and you got to have a story.
Think about it, okay?
To make people care.
Not only that, think about it. What Kawhi Leonard.
Perfect example.
Perfect example. He had the keys to the kingdom and didn't want it because he said, "What? I just want to play basketball."
KD's the same way.
I just want to play basketball.
They don't have the personality. They don't have the mindset.
Yeah, not everybody wants to be. Because see, think about it, right? We've said this before. When you become that level of athlete, a Muhammad Ali type person, a Magic, a Bird, all eyes on you. You could go outside and sneeze funny. He sneezed funny last week.
He talking about the coach.
he put something on his shirt. What do you mean?
Yeah.
The LeBron level. You put something on his shirt. Everybody insinuate you could actually really hate pork.
Yeah.
Right. But
I don't eat ham.
Right. But you know what? Here's another example. Without, just like we've said 1,000 times, without Angel,
there's no
CC isn't what she is. Right. Yeah. Still a great player, but the mystique isn't there. Right.
Without Paige is no CC. Without Paige getting hurt is no all eyes on CC. I would say
that far.
Okay.
Because just
possibly. I would just say possibly.
Because again, it's not about the play because Kelsey Plum had the record and nobody cared, right?
You're right.
Without Magic, there would not be a Bird, because Bird didn't want any of that attention. Magic had to be the one to do the talking. Magic had to be the one to promote the rivalry. Bird was like, I just want to kill him. I want to play on the court. I want to win, but I want to do these commercials. I want to do this stuff. Magic is the one. Man, we can get behind this. It's just like with
Bron and Curry.
Bron and Curry, right?
When they had their little back and forth.
But like you gotta have like with boxing, you gotta have somebody, which is why Conor McGregor got so huge, right? Because he would talk so much trash, promote things. But if you just got two great fighters that don't speak English or that don't want to talk,
bad fight.
Promotion is horrible, and nobody's gonna watch it.
Don King said it best. You want this fight to go? Somebody got to talk.
Yeah.
All day.
And I will attest to that. It looks like a lot of players are not wanting to talk after a game. And I get it. Some of the questions are stupid.
I get that. But I think, in today's age of media everywhere, they really don't get a break either. But that's just on the player side. So again, they want some privacy, but being the face of the league really doesn't allow you.
Exactly. And that's one reason why people don't.
Nobody wants that. I get it. You got to have a high tolerance for a lot of things.
Yeah.
When you want patience, you can't say the wrong thing because the camera is always on you when it's not on you.
And that pressure, man, is rough.
It's rough.
Right?
In all sports. In hockey, Gretzky had it back in the day. What was a big guy? Lindros.
Eric Lindros.
Eric Lindros, he was one of the guys who had it on too. And he, you're like, hey, it's a lot. So I could see a lot of guys not wanting it, but like I said, if you want it, you gotta take it. Nobody's gonna give you anything. And like we said earlier, it has to be organic. Michael wasn't pushed on us. Shaq wasn't pushed on us. It was just organic. It was like, ooh, I like that guy. When it kind of like
Even when you didn't like him initially, you
Yeah.
started to start liking him.
it's like overkill, right? Same thing we just talked about. Overkill. It's like literally, if they decided Ant-Man was going to be the face of the league no matter what, and they started flooding us with Gatorade commercials and he's doing Hertz commercials, and we'd be like, especially when our 15-second attention span, we'd be like, I'm tired of seeing this commercial. I don't like him. So now he becomes a bad guy.
But
what he's supposed to do.
But if Ant wins the title,
to a couple times.
and so I'm saying, you win that first one, right? And you're clearly the guy. Oh, dang, that's the dude from those commercials.
Yeah.
And then you got to come up with part of his marketing. You
Yeah.
got to come up with the right commercial, the right product,
Yeah.
the right person to sell it.
Yeah.
Which is why Tim Duncan, as great as he was at basketball, horrible. That's when he didn't promote anything because nobody cares what he has to say. Nobody wants him to be the face of their product. But he's a great basketball player.
And there's no, because you talked about it, how there were 4 to 5 guys that could be the face of the league, but they're all European.
Yeah.
There's no variety when it comes to Americans.
Yeah, but that's what Americans want. I mean, that's what
There's
we
no
want.
variety. Yep.
We want somebody from here. And I'm gonna go out on a big limb and say we want somebody from here.
But I
We
mean,
want somebody from Europe.
who's
We
your
want somebody from South
variety
America.
though? Your Ant, your Jason Tatum, maybe. Who else? It's not gonna be Jaylen Brown.
See, here's the thing.
I would like
If you're 6 years into the league, you're not it. Like early on,
If
who's
you the
it,
guy.
which is why they're in such bad shape.
Yeah.
Because Wemby might end up being the best basketball player on the planet, but he don't have the it. Ant might end up being the best player on the planet,
but
he's got he wants to have it, but at this point he don't have it. So it's like, either you have it or you don't.
And you can, because you talked about how they need to kind of relate to the kids. LaMelo, shoes, great market, has a lot of color, relates to the kids.
But
good for Charlotte.
But yeah, the key word, good for who?
Charlotte.
Thank you.
But won't be the face of the league.
So here's the thing. There's a whole lot that goes into that, right?
That you gotta have.
Melo doesn't do interviews where he's talking about stuff that people want to hear about. Melo is a great basketball player. Now, I don't think he's going to stay in Charlotte. I think he's going to go to a big market because he thinks it's going to help him. But this far into your career, you can be a great basketball player and you might even be the MVP one year. But that's different than being that guy that everybody wants to see.
Was MVP. He wasn't the face of the league. It's a lot of cats. Who was it? Jason. Who was the point guard? I think his last name. Jason Kidd. Great.
He's another dude that didn't say anything. Like there was.
Then you had the guy, the prototype to Steph, which is Maruf. What's his name?
Okay, you talking about he's Chris Jackson when he first came in.
Yeah, Chris Jackson. He changed his name. Maruf. What, they didn't want to talk to him.
Well, and here's the other thing. I'm gonna give you a quick thing on you. He's my second all-time favorite player.
Right, I remember that.
When Phil Jackson said Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf was Steph before Steph, that's wrong. 100% wrong. I don't know what he was talking because they're both light-skinned guards. That's the only thing they got in common. Chris Jackson, Mahmoud, Steph's thing, like Caitlin Clark, is the logo, the half-court threes, the crazy range. Mahmoud wasn't doing that. His favorite shot was a step inside the three-point line.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he was money hitting it. If he was an inch beyond three-point line, he was out of range.
Yeah.
Completely different players, like not even the same player at all. But Phil Jackson, he can say what he wants to say. But yeah, they're not the same player at all. So yeah, no.
Highly talented.
Yes.
Again, never would have been the face of the league.
Far from it.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, so the NBA is going to have to figure out what they're going to do. They're going to find somebody to do something. Yeah, I think to do something, like I said, because I think the viewership is. I don't see anything in the future that's going to pull their viewership up right now. I just don't see it. I don't see a play. I mean, Cooper Flag might do it, You know, they call
The flag will help
He-
if
the-
he ends up in the right
yeah,
situation.
the great white hope.
Yeah,
You know, and again,
he'll get a shot to
it's
try to
like,
do
you
it.
know, and again, he's got to be in the right place. And I'm sure they're going to give him all the resources needed to do that. Because
You
again,
better watch the pod and start talking.
he can come on over. You got like he right down there. He right down the street.
Yeah.
So like I said, but now we're gonna bring this episode to an end for you again. We're gonna say Happy New Year's to each and every one of you. May 25 be live for each of you. Maybe you get some money. We would like to get some too. Just so you know, we take sponsorships. Right. Well, with that, like I said, we're gonna bring our 26th episode to an end. Like I said, please like, share, subscribe. Three guys who came together organically to talk about sports from a novice point of view. So again, leave some comments, tell us what you think. And again, like I said, we might read your comments, and again, we might not. But like that, we're gonna sign off with
AJ.
Jay.
an A-Dub.